The Russia-Ukraine war continues with tough struggles. Ukrainian forces mobilized all means at their disposal to expel the Russian troops from their country. The Ukrainian army, with the help of long-range weapons, is carrying out attacks on the points where the Russian soldiers are concentrated. Unable to withstand intense Ukrainian attacks, Russian troops had to retreat in many areas. However, if Ukraine had to fight with its military inventory, it would be impossible to achieve this success. Russian leader Vladimir Putin took the current military situation of Ukraine as a basis in all his feasibility studies before the invasion plan started. For this reason, Vladimir Putin avoided using all the means of his army on the territory of Ukraine and aimed to carry out the invasion plan with his elite soldiers. In the first place, the Ukrainian forces showed a good defensive performance by using the means at their disposal. The great struggle of the Ukrainians for freedom has managed to attract the attention and admiration of the whole world. This has come back to them in the form of military and humanitarian aid. The faith in the hearts of the Ukrainians and the strength in their wrists struck fear in the Russian troops at the front. Now we see that the Ukrainian forces have a great advantage over the Russian ones. Another important factor behind the success of the Ukrainian forces is the great effort and the military aid from Western countries. The United States in particular never reduced its support for the Ukrainian forces and opened the door to success for them. The Ukrainian army made the best use of the military aid packages from Western countries, ensuring that Western countries did not regret these aids. In fact, Western countries have significantly increased the frequency and content of their military aid packages as the Ukrainian forces made progress. The Ukrainian armed forces were able to repulse any attack by the Russians with the help of the West. Having great military genius on the battlefield, the Ukrainian army achieved great success by developing strategies to destroy Russian weapons. From the beginning of the war, the biggest difference between the Ukrainian and Russian army was undoubtedly air and sea dominance. The Ukrainian army had already managed to crush the Russians in the ground forces. However, it had difficulties for a long time against Russia's attacks from the sea and air. On New Year's Day and in the days before that, the Russian army tried to hit all the cities of Ukraine with hundreds of missiles. However, Ukraine managed to shoot down at least 80% of these missiles with its strengthened air defense since August. At sea, the Ukrainian army managed to keep Russian warships away from the Ukrainian coast with the integration of various drone strategies and coastal defense systems. However, the Russian missile terror still continues, and for this, the USA is developing Ukraine's air shield with great military assistance. Washington stressed that the new military aid package for the armed forces of Ukraine will for the first time include Sea Sparrow anti-aircraft missiles. For the first time, the US government has stated that an aid package will include Sea Sparrow anti-aircraft missiles with radar guidance, which can be launched either from the sea or from the ground to intercept aircraft or cruise missiles. It is estimated that the Ukrainian army will use land-based Sea Sparrow missiles. At the moment, the last US aid package of $3 billion has already started to arrive in Ukraine. Sea Sparrow anti-aircraft missiles have been mounted in Ukraine for about 3 days. Perhaps even the Kremlin did not expect such help. Russian President Vladimir Putin claims that military aid to Ukraine will only inflict suffering on Ukraine. However, the situation seems to be the other way around. The Ukrainian armed forces have very powerful air defense systems such as RST, NASAMS, Krotella, and Jeopard. In addition, Ukraine's possession of Sea Sparrow missiles will prevent its problems in air dominance and defense. Since Sea Sparrow missiles can hit both aircraft and cruise missiles, they are especially important in preventing Russian attacks on Ukraine. This could mean that Russian pilots will never be able to fly over the Ukrainian skies again, revealing the fact that Russian cruise missiles could be shot down completely. Soon, Ukraine's air shield may be fully ready, and the Russians may no longer be able to fly in Ukraine. So far, Russia has lost nearly 300 warplanes, 300 combat helicopters, and 2,000 UAVs. We can say that the aid packages prepared by the United States of America are the richest ones in terms of content. Packages delivered to Ukraine by the United States included M142 high-mobility artillery missile systems and the AGM-88 HARM missiles. These equipment, supplied by the USA, played an important role in changing the course of the war in Ukraine. Alongside the Sea Sparrow missiles, Western countries are lining up to send aid to Ukraine. A joint press release by the United States and Germany revealed interesting details about the preparation of a different aid package to Ukraine. It is estimated that the aid package to be prepared jointly by the USA and Germany will overshadow the previous aids. Just 1 day after France announced that it would ship AMX-10 RC armored combat vehicles, a highly mobile, wheeled system built around the GIAT 105mm cannon mounted on a powerful turret. The US and Germany announced that they would ship armored infantry vehicles. In a joint statement, the two countries drew attention to the fact that the West will make decisions that can pave the way for Ukraine to give what it really wants: Western tanks. The White House has stated that it plans to send to Ukraine the Bradley fighting vehicle, a tracked armored combat vehicle carrying an automatic cannon and a machine gun. At the same time, Germany stated that it will procure the Marder infantry combat vehicle. Bradley alone will provide a significant talent boost for Ukraine. The United States has sent more than 2,000 combat vehicles, including hundreds of mine-resistant vehicles and Humvees, which Kyiv used to bypass Russia's defenses. The US Army's gold standard infantry fighting vehicle, the Bradley, is a faster and better protected variant of the M113 armored personnel carrier. The 50 Bradley infantry vehicles to be supplied by the United States are part of an overall aid package worth $3.8 billion. The package allocates $2.25 billion for Ukraine, which will include 155mm artillery shells. Another $682 million in military funding will go to Eastern European countries to allow them to purchase American weapons and military equipment. Ukraine will also receive $225 million in military financing. The German government has stated that it will donate a battery in addition to the Patriot air defense systems sent by the US to Ukraine. With this move by Germany, the number of Patriot air defense systems owned by the Ukrainian forces will be 2. The move by the US and Germany to send modern infantry fighting vehicles to Ukraine could pave the way for the supply of more powerful Western tanks, something NATO member states have been reluctant to do until now. Among the more powerful Western tanks mentioned are Germany's Leopard tanks and the US military's M1 Abrams tanks. The retired commander of the US military, former Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, stated that the Bradley infantry vehicle that the US plans to procure is designed to work with the M1 Abrams. The Bradley infantry vehicle plays a complementary role when working alongside the M1 Abrams tanks. A Leopard or Abrams is more mobile, accurate, and longer range than all Soviet tanks. They are also more effective at protecting troops than older tanks or even Western infantry fighting vehicles, as Ukraine continues to suffer heavy losses on the battlefield. With the transfer of these tanks, Ukraine will significantly increase the advantage it has gained against the Russian troops. President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked France for the AMX-10 while renewing calls for other allies to supply tanks and other heavy weapons. Zelensky emphasized that there is no rational reason why Western tanks have not yet been supplied to Ukraine. But retired Lieutenant General Ben Hodges described Bradley as a less escalating choice than Abrams for an administration that is still concerned about provoking Moscow. According to Hodges, when Kyiv's Soviet-era tanks and the Bradley infantry vehicle are paired, a high attack fusion will be achieved. The United States is not content with just supplying weapons to the Ukrainian army. In order for the Ukrainian soldiers to use the aid they receive in a more professional way, US Army officials are training the Ukrainian soldiers at a base in Germany. The Pentagon underlined that the training program for Ukrainian forces at a US base in Germany has been expanded in both size and scope. The new program will expand training to a battalion's value of around 500 soldiers per month, and will also include instructions on how to coordinate infantry maneuvers with artillery support, referred to as combined arms operations. With the delivery of Bradley infantry vehicles, US-trained Ukrainian soldiers will likely receive training alongside existing tanks and infantry on how to maneuver vehicles more effectively. In addition, it is believed that they indirectly focused on the M1 Abrams tanks in the training given to the Ukrainian soldiers by the USA. While the content of the aid to Ukraine is increasing day by day, the future of the aid Volodymyr Zelensky is waiting for is curious. When the earlier and current aid packages are compared, it can be seen that Western countries improved their aid packages in line with Zelensky's wishes. We wouldn't be surprised if we see the warplanes and main battle tanks Zelensky wants in aid packages soon. Thanks for watching.